Actually, I am a restaurateur and a philanthropist by accident. But I think where there's a will, there is a way. 2019, when I won the Restaurateur of the Year award at the Eiffel Tower in Paris.
Okay.
And that's when I realized that, hey, maybe I'm doing something different that's working. And whatever savings I had, I put it in the restaurant. So there is a fine dine restaurant which I have, where we even pick up and drop the customers in a luxury car. I don't want to be somewhere where I'm not needed, where I'm not making a difference.
Yeah.
And I was always a very people's person. If you believe in yourself and if you follow your passion, success is bound to follow. So one good thing about women is they are always empowered. They just need opportunities. Because I feel women are the Shakti. But if you give them the opportunity, a woman can bring a full circle of life to the house. So the gender bias has to end somewhere.
Yeah.
Women are equally empowered as men. Hi, I'm Neeti Goyal and you're watching me on Midday.
We all love dining out, don't we? But today we have someone who has truly made a name for herself in the restaurant industry. Joining us today, Neeti Goyal, a celebrated restaurateur and philanthropist who has not only received prestigious awards consecutively, but has also dedicated herself to the impactful humanitarian work. Let's explore her inspiring journey of entrepreneurship, passion and purpose. Hi Neeti, a warm welcome to you.
Hi Shweta, thank you for having me on the show.
Oh, restaurant business, being a woman and having a restaurant business. Please tell us, how did this journey begin?
So if you ask my journey in one word,
Yeah.
I would say roller coaster. It's actually been a roller coaster ride.
All right.
So I actually hail from Chandigarh. My
Okay.
dad was one of a famous industrialist there. Got married in Bombay. Then I joined my husband's business,
Yeah.
and I'm from the accounting background. So I
Okay.
thought, okay, let me, get my hands on his accounts. He's into pharmaceutical manufacturing.
Okay.
But a month down the line, I realized whether I'm going to the office or I'm not going, it's not matter.
Yeah.
There is no accountability. There's no responsibility. Nobody cares. Like even if I'm there or I'm not there, it's inconsequential. So I'm like, I don't want to be somewhere where I'm not needed, where I'm not making a difference.
Yeah.
And I was always a very people's person.
Okay.
So I thought that, you know what, let me try my hand at hospitality. So I didn't know nothing about that. And this is almost more than a decade ago. So things were very different. There were very few restaurants. Now you see a restaurant, every second shop is a
Absolutely.
restaurant.
Yeah.
Those days were very different. So I met a lot of restaurateurs, I met consultants, I met chefs. I did a research for 2
Okay.
years because I'm one person who likes to be 100% sure before I jump into anything.
True.
So 2 years down the line, I realized after sitting at home and only brainstorming on what I want to do, I realized that I want to be a restaurateur.
So how long has it been, like, as in? how
So
many years?
then I started my first place,
Okay.
which was Nom Nom in Bandra on
Okay.
16th Road. And
Okay.
whatever savings I had, I put it in the restaurant. And everyone was dead against it, that don't do it, you don't know anything about the business.
Yeah.
And of course, I was also nervous. But one thing I learned down the line, that if you believe in yourself and if you follow your passion, success is bound to follow.
Absolutely true, Neeti. That's what we all should actually follow.
Yes.
I know that you have won consecutively the Restaurateur of the Year award.
Yes, that's true. Thank you.
What's unique about the restaurants that you come
So
up
it
with?
started with 2019 when I won the Restaurateur of the Year award at the Eiffel Tower in Paris.
Okay.
And that's when I realized that, hey, maybe I'm doing something different that's working. So I think what works for me is that all my restaurants offer very, very different cuisines. They are completely food centric.
Wow.
They are experiential dining. And we take care of everything right from the time a customer leaves their home to the time they get back. So there is a fine dine restaurant which I have, where we even pick up and drop the customers in a luxury car. Because if your experience is good at the restaurant, but while you step out and you end up in an argument or something goes wrong, then your whole experience goes down the drain.
Sure.
So we make sure that we offer a 360-degree solution right from the time the customer is ready to leave their homes. And we offer cuisines which are authentic. We have chefs from all over the world, from India, from all parts of India.
Correct.
And we use the right ingredients. So I think it's a recipe. The success recipe is taking care of everything personally, hand picking everything,
Absolutely.
and making sure that everything falls in place.
Neeti, apart from this business in restaurant, you're also a philanthropist.
Yeah,
so,
that's right.
What are some of your special initiatives that you have taken by now?
Actually, I am a restaurateur and a philanthropist by accident. So
Accident? Why would you say that?
I'll
as an
tell you what
accident?
happened.
Yeah,
So in
please.
the pandemic, just before the lockdown had hit, me and my daughter went to buy some medicines for my grandfather.
Okay.
And we saw some kids eating mud. And I realized that I thought they're playing. Like, we could never even think that somebody would eat mud, right? In a city.
Absolutely.
So I told my daughter, I said, no, they're playing. She said, no, mama, they're eating mud.
That
Let's
was
go.
tragic.
Yeah, I said, let's go talk to them.
Mhm.
When we spoke to them, they were children of daily wage earners. They hadn't eaten for 2 days because, anyways, before the lockdown, people didn't have jobs, things had started shutting. So they were eating mud. I said, gosh, this is the situation. We are sitting at home. We don't realize the privileges that we have. So immediately we made 1200 meals in all my restaurants, and we said we'll go out and distribute. But when we went out below the Eastern Express Highway and the Western Express, even if we had taken 12,000 meals, it would have been less. That was
Absolutely.
the amount of hunger and helplessness that was around. So that's when immediately, with a group of friends, I founded an initiative called Khana Chahiye, which is food for thought. And we wanted to distribute meals. Now, anyways, all the restaurants were shut, hotels were shut,
Mhm.
there were empty kitchen capacities, the staff was sitting idle. We had access to packing materials, we had direct contact with the farmers in Nasik and Pune. That's when I realized that maybe, God was preparing me for a bigger task that was feeding not people in good times but also in bad times. It's always not about charging, it's always about also giving back to the society.
Yeah.
And that's the time I realized that we need to just put in our 100%. So at the end of the pandemic, we did about 80 lakh free meals. We did about 60,000 ration kits. We had adopted 800 sex workers.
Okay.
We had adopted 32 orphanages. We rebuilt 1,000 homes in Raigarh, which were hit by the Nisarg cyclone. Now, during this pandemic, I also founded the Ghar Bhejo campaign with Sonu Sood.
Oh, okay.
So there were migrants. Because what happens when we were reaching out to corporates for funding, they were saying this is never ending. Nobody knew that, what's going to be the end. When is it
Absolutely.
going to end? It seemed like endless.
True.
So that's when me and Sonu thought that why don't we just put a solution to this and try sending them home? But there was a cost to it. The cost was too huge. I mean, it was almost costing us 2 rupees per kilometer for one migrant. So if you had to send about 30 people, it would cost you almost 1,80,000 to 2 lakhs to justify that kind of cost. Firstly, in a lockdown, to find the buses, to find any transport, then to get the permissions. It was really difficult. But I think where there's a will, there is a way. We
Absolutely.
found
I
we found one
truly-
vendor who had a fleet of 120 brand new buses. He agreed to volunteer and come on board with us. And that's how our Ghar Bhejo campaign started. And we ended up sending 1.5 lakh migrant workers back home. So post that also I've continued because I realized deep within myself that life is not just about ourselves.
True.
It's also about
Others.
doing things for others. And that's when I continued my passion for, and it became a passion anyways.
Any of the initiative that is that you are trying to come up forward with?
Yeah, so there's a very initiative very close to my heart, which is
Yeah.
the Tiger Widows of Sundarbans.
Okay.
So on the Indian continent, there are about 45 islands. And 45 islands, there are 3,000 Tiger Widows. Now, do you know who Tiger Widows are?
I am unknown to that. Please tell me.
So everyone talks about tiger conversation, and they talk about conserving tiger and tiger becoming extinct.
Yeah.
But nobody talks about the effects of tigers. These tigers are man-eating tigers, and they are the ones who have mauled and eaten the husbands of these women who are now widows. Because Sundarbans is an area where the waters are saline, so there's no agriculture, there's
that's
no
true.
industrialization
Yeah,
there.
that's true.
The only means of livelihood is honeybee collecting and honey collecting, and in fact it's the largest exporter of honey in the world.
Okay.
So these men go into the deep forest in search of honey, and that's when they get mauled and eaten by tigers. And you won't believe it, I'll tell you something very interesting.
Please.
These tigers are the only tigers in the world who have adapted to swimming miles and miles in fraction of seconds. So when these men are going on their dingy, they will just clamber on top from the water and they will just grab them. So these tigers have adapted themselves to the
To the
environment.
environment.
So now these women have no jobs, they
So
have
you
no
work for
income.
them.
No, so then I thought, what to do with them? We have to get them to do something. They are not ready to relocate because for them, tribal people, they will never leave their land. That's when we thought we'll make them independent entrepreneurs. So one good thing about women is they are always empowered. They just need opportunities. So we taught them goat rearing, fish farming.
Okay.
Then I donated them those goats, fishes to rear, and then they can sell and make a living. So till now we've touched about 500 tiger widows. It's still
That's an
long way
incredible journey, Neeti.
yeah,
That's
this
a
one,
truly
this
incredible
this
journey.
this project is really close to my heart.
Because no one has actually thought in that way.
Yes,
We often don't.
Yeah,
I mean, this is for the first time that I've come across such stories.
And these women are as young as 20 years to 70 years. Because
True.
in Bengal, there's a lot of early marriage still.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so they get widowed because the men are going in the jungle anyways. They can be attacked anytime. But I still talk to them. So I have volunteers who regularly visit them, and then they show me when the babies are born, and they show me, and their lives are changed. Now they know they are living a life of dignity, a life of self-respect. You have to see the smiles on their faces, which keeps me going.
So you have already shared one of the initiatives that keeps women empowered. But apart from that, because I also know that you have won the award, the Women Empowerment Leadership Principles Award. So adding to this, how do you further advocate women?
So actually, I feel a lot for women because I feel women are the Shakti.
Yeah,
And they just need opportunities. What
Absolutely.
we are lacking in our country is maybe in the rural areas, we just expect women to cook, clean, to be at home. But if you give them the opportunity, a woman can bring a full circle of life to the house and a 360-degree transformation. So I have seen that myself. So I work very closely with women in UP, in MP, in Kolkata, in all parts of in Bihar. So we give them carts. On the carts they can sell pani puri.
Yeah.
Somebody is making chai pakora. Somebody is doing something. We donate sewing machines so they can actually and get them job works from ISKCON.
Absolutely.
So the bags, those sling bags and all.
Are you trying to collaborate with the government officials or the government organizations further?
I would love to, but till now nothing has come about. So I'm funding it all from my trust, my family-owned trust.
But more people should come and collaborate with you. This is what I feel like, because this is such a humanitarian
Yeah.
thing that
No,
you
there
have.
are lots of corporates. There are a lot of people who came forward in the pandemic.
Okay.
And who came forward, who donated, who helped. But to constantly keep going, keep doing, you have to also keep asking. And I'm not one person who will go and ask. So whatever comes, it's fine. Otherwise, I'm managing to do whatever best I can.
In this journey, Neeti, did you ever felt any kind of challenge in the hospitality as well as the entrepreneurial journey?
Yeah, I think, until a woman actually proves herself, she's never taken seriously. So
That's
whenever, I mean to say that goes constantly, according to me, in any field. Like, अरे ये तो लड़की है, ये क्या करेगी? But until you prove yourself, and to prove yourself takes an arm and a leg. But until you prove yourself, so that I think has been the toughest challenge. The mindsets of people. So the gender bias has to end somewhere. Women are equally empowered as men. This bias, it's all a state of mind. It's not actually. So even if you see all our kind of families, any kind of families, when a girl is born, the whole agenda is get her good education, get her married.
Get her married.
But nobody thinks
she's
of a
been
career.
considered as
Nobody thinks of.
She's been considered as a burden.
Yeah,
number.
not only burden, I wouldn't say burden, but just that कि लड़की है तो हाँ, we have to settle her in a good house, and that becomes a agenda, like a project until the child
Stereotypical
is
mindset.
married. So that has to break, that has to change. So I think that has been the biggest challenge to prove myself. But luckily, God willing, everything fell in place.
Definitely
And
it
now
will. It
I've
will.
been trying to inspire a lot of youth also to also be socially responsible, to give back to the society, because they are the future of our country.
Absolutely.
And they need to come forward and do things.
So one piece of advice on your end for the women of today's society, today's advanced society, I would say.
I would say if you're a woman
any-
and if you want to do something, you want to be an entrepreneur, you want to do something, first of all, follow your passion, do what you want to do, and do not get influenced by people around you. Right from the time we want to decide when we are in 10th grade, what we want to do, we start getting influenced by our parents, by relatives. तू तो engineer ही बनेगी, तू तो doctor ही बनेगी. No, but why? Why can't I be a wildlife photographer?
Absolutely.
Something out of the box I might want to do. So just listen to your passion. And I think patience and perseverance are two qualities every woman has. So stick to that, and success is bound to follow.
Was so inspiring on your end.
Thank you, Shweta. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, Neeti, for sharing your valuable time with us.
Thank you.
And I definitely feel that your journey is inspiring, and it proves so much of dedication and determination on your end.
Thank you so
the
much.
initiatives that you have taken, you have come forward with, and please share us a little more about the What Now initiative.
Yeah, so today, if you see, everyone's on social media, and a lot of time is being spent on all these platforms. Now, what happens? A lot of these youth are getting trolled. In fact, if you see the national cybercrime records, out of 10 youths, 7 are cyberbullied or cyber harassed, which is a very high number.
True.
A lot of student suicides are actually termed as peer pressure, study pressure, but they are actually because of cyber harassment. but people don't want to come up, people don't want to own up.
Mhm.
And if something like this happens in your own house, parents are not accepting it. They are like,
They're
you
not
know,
supportive of that.
they are not supportive at all. And I think it's absolutely normal. When it was normal for you to be with your girlfriend, boyfriend,
Hmm.
when some repercussion happens and some photos are leaked or videos are leaked,
Mhm.
then face it up. It's not a big deal. There's no shame attached here. In fact, we
But
all
that's a
need to
part of a
take.
mentality of the society to consider in a
Yeah.
wrong way.
So what happens is when something like this happens to a
Mhm.
victim who's a youth, this
Yep.
is basically for the youth.
Mhm.
They go into a depression. They don't talk to their parents. They don't talk to their friends either, out of shame.
Yeah,
वो
absolutely.
मेरे बारे क्या सोचेगी? और वो
They
सोचेगी
go through
भी.
that.
And actually, children also think.
Mhm.
They also say, अच्छा उसके साथ ऐसे हुआ.
Mhm.
This is a general thought process.
Thought process, true.
So we launched a helpline where we have clinical psychologists, counselors, suicide prevention experts, lawyers, doctors. It's absolutely free. The victim can call. They don't have to tell their identity. They can say whatever name they want to. We will take down the case. We'll try to counsel them. If it's an SOS case of suicide, sometimes we get calls like मैं अभी suicide कर रही हूँ. So the call immediately is transferred to the suicide prevention expert.
Yeah.
We have techniques. So the person will divert the mind by saying, oh, आप थोड़ी ice ले लीजिए हाथ में. And those 20 minutes are critical. If those 20 minutes you keep the person engaged, suicidal thoughts just go.
So after you get the call, you contact with the legal organizations.
No,
and
no,
you-
no, no. They are all on board. It's an app.
Okay.
And they are all on our board. They are
Okay.
in-house. So as soon as the counselor picks up the call,
Mhm.
we decide that what kind of a case it is, and she will likewise immediately transfer the call within a fraction of a few seconds. So a lot of times with the counseling, the case gets resolved because the girl then or the boy stands up for their right that okay, do what you want to. I don't want to get bullied, and that's when सामने वाला thinks कि अब ये और blackmail नहीं होगी, चलो मैं कुछ और करूँ. And a lot of times there are organized criminal groups now who are
True.
blackmailing.
True.
So those people end up in an FIR. So we have tie-up with the Police Pan India.
Okay.
We've launched this initiative in Maharashtra with the Maharashtra government and
Okay.
Maharashtra Police.
Okay.
Now we have also launched in Telangana, in Bihar, in Rajasthan with the respective police and governments.
Okay.
So they handhold us. So once the FIR is done, we help them to take the content down. We help them with all the processes with the police. And that's when it's like a 360-degree solution. So we get about 250, 300 calls every day. And I think we've been successful in preventing almost 31 suicides till now. So it's going well. It launched in July 24
Okay.
and going very strong.
That was a truly thoughtful discussion with Neeti Goyal, and I hope our viewers would have loved our conversation and discussion of today. And for more such great chit chats, stay tuned with Midday.
Subscribe to Midday India. Get direct notifications on all our videos by clicking on the bell icon.